Hi, happy Monday. Welcome to another week of mindfulness. And thanks for being here. Thanks to all the occupiers of White City Place for showing up. And this is a really great way to keep the community together, keep connected. And yeah, hopefully you'll be getting some tips and ideas for meditation practice as we go along these weeks. And I try, if you haven't meditated with me before, I try to choose a different theme every week. And that's either based on feedback from people or it's based on my own experiences through meditation. A little bit about me: I've been meditating for many, many years. I've been teaching it for 9 years alongside yoga. And it's really important to know why we meditate, and we meditate to learn to respond to life rather than react. So, of course, responding is reacting, but the difference is that if you think about the word react, it's usually a kind of knee-jerk reaction. It's a quick response as opposed to a meditated response. So it's creating that pause before responding, noticing how you feel in your body before responding. And it just gives you that extra, not edge, but it gives you the calmness that you need to respond in a way that your most rational mind would respond. And just on that, when we are stressed in any way, our rational thinking can be slightly foggy. So without going, I paused there because I was thinking I don't want to go into too much of the biology behind the neuroscience of the brain, because that could be really confusing. But just know that the neurotransmitters work regarding in response to how you are perceiving the world. So certain areas of your brain light up dependent on how you are viewing the world at that time. So if we are stressed, the stress response kicks in, and that takes some of the emphasis away from the frontal lobe, so your prefrontal cortex, the front of your head, here where all the rational thinking happens. So when we're stressed, it can be really quite foggy and we're not thinking properly. So back to the idea of responding rather than reacting, we are thinking, it gives us a chance to calm down the stress emotional response and respond in a rational way. So that's the reason that I just wanted to explain really why it's important to learn the difference about responding rather than reacting. So I'm just taking my jumper off. Winter in London, it's it's a confusing time, isn't it? It's all about the layers. You just never know what the weather's going to do. Chilly, not chilly, sun out, lovely. Gets a bit colder. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about today was who are we? So you ask yourself, who am I? And when you flick through albums of photographs or through your Instagram feeds, pictures of you, you see different versions of yourself. And you'll also feel different versions of yourself as you go through life. Some days you have those really good days where you feel like you're on top of the world and you've got everything completely sussed and nailed. And then other times you feel a little bit out of it. Sometimes you feel more confident and you think that you are that person. And other times you might feel like a shy wallflower. Sometimes you might be more reactionary with regards to your relationships, and you might not like that version of you. Or you might feel empowered by that version of you versus a more kind of calmer you some days. So you get the picture. There are many pictures of you, there are many facets of you. So which one is the real you? Well, the answer is all of them and none of them. So the reason I say all of them is that they are all facets of how you see yourself, how you represent yourself to the world in many different guises. And they are dependent on your perceptions, and they are dependent on your growth. They're dependent on the environment, i.e., your the people around you, your physical space around you, where you are in the world, geographically, um, or even just moving house down the road. Everything changes, and when things change, it changes your perception of the world, and therefore another facet of you is revealed. Also, you might find with friendships, you are different with some friends than you are with others. Or you might be in this social situation where you didn't quite feel like you were yourself, you didn't give your best, and you go home and you go, "Oh, right, now I can really relax. I can just be me." So you think that that's you, right? So there's so many different facets. So which one are you? So that you are all of them, but you're also neither of them. And the reason I say that is because as I say, the person. It's not even the person. You are the energy behind all of those facets of who you think you are. You are. It's not even the foundation because there's no beginning and there's no end. It's just that you are the consciousness behind all the many different facets. Now, that might be a little bit deep and a little bit difficult to get your head around, and I appreciate that. So I like to think about it as if you are the observer to your life. And being the observer means that you sit back every now and then and you notice how you are. And that's why meditation is a really, really great practice, because you can sit back and notice who you are through meditation, through mindfulness. So mindfulness is really about tapping in. How does my body feel in this situation? So let's just take one of those facets of you. Okay, so let's just say you are in an interview for a job that you really, really want, and you're a little bit nervous, and you're sitting there and you want to be your best. So let's just imagine you're in that situation. You would then, if you were being mindful, you would, which is difficult when you're in a position like that because it's quite stressful, in that you want it to be great and you want to be your absolute best self. So in that situation, it's difficult to remind yourself to become aware. So you build your awareness through meditation practices so that when you are in those predicaments, you are able then to bring in that self-regulation, that idea of awareness, of being aware. So over practice, you gain the confidence and you gain the experience to tap into that. So let's just say you've been meditating for a while and you're in that interview, and you remember to check in, to be aware. So you go, okay, how is my body feeling right now? Or maybe, you know what, actually a better idea of that would be while you're waiting to go into the interview. I think it's a little bit too much to expect you to be mindful fully in the interview, especially if you're quite new to meditation. But let's talk about before you go into the interview. So that time, and you're feeling a little bit nervous, and it's like, okay, how's my breathing? Oh, it's quite short. I'm breathing more than I feel I should. Actually, I'm getting a bit lightheaded. Oh, right. Okay. So I need to change my breathing. I need to slow down. my breath? How does the rest of my body feel? A little bit tight. I don't even know if I'm sitting comfortably. I haven't even thought about it. Okay, I need to soften my body. So you'll do a little body scan with yourself. And when you do that, when you step back and go, okay, how am I? How am I feeling? How is everything here? You learn to center yourself. So we all want to try and center ourselves in our lives so that we're not consumed by extremes. So we want to be in the middle. We want to be balanced. We want to have a little bit of everything, but remain balanced so that we are in control of who we are. So that idea of being in your center is that place where you step back as the observer and you just can close your eyes every now and then and just notice. Notice how you're breathing. Notice how the body is. And that is you. That's the real you. The rest of the facets are just, it's like you're acting out different scenes of your life. And you can do all of those facets. That's why you are all of them. But you can also keep coming back to center. Just check out how you're feeling. And the reason I wanted to bring all that up today is that there's still no studies, I believe, yet that have proven whether or not it's as beneficial to meditate for, say, 4 or 6 chunks of 5 minutes throughout the day versus a full 20 to 30-minute meditation at one go. And that's quite a nice thought in a way, in that if you can, if it was beneficial to meditate in chunks of 5 minutes, that's really accessible for a very, very busy person. Even though I will say, even the busiest of people have time to meditate. You just have to make the time. But let's just talk about those 5-minute chunks for a moment, because I know there are days sometimes when you might even forget, or just go, oh, I actually really don't have time. My phone, say you're somebody that has to be in meetings all the time. You really literally don't have the space, or you got up late or whatever. Those 5-minute chunks between the meetings, you might be able to check in and do exactly what I was talking about before. And that's that way of finding your center, just by closing your eyes and noticing how you're breathing. There's no skill to that. It's self-management. You just have to tune in, notice how you're feeling, give yourself that good 5 minutes, and then you can start your next meeting. I hope all that makes sense, and I hope it helps you. We're going to now start a meditation. So let's get nice and comfortable, and just close your eyes. You might even need to close your eyes to see whether you are comfortable or not. Quite often you don't really know until you close your eyes. That's a great thing about shutting down one of the senses. You become a little bit more aware of how you are in all your other senses. So closing your eyes, get nice and relaxed. And I don't want you to think about meditating right now. I just want you to notice. How does my body feel? Ideally, your spine is erect. But don't stress about that too much. If you're sitting on the floor, and you're happy cross-legged, that's great. If you can't sit like that for 20 minutes without shuffling, you might want to nudge back to a wall or sit on a chair so your back is supported. The idea is that you can let go of the body, you're not holding on at all. Just closing down the eyes, just letting everything just soften here. So before we go into scanning the body, we're just going to do a breathing exercise, and I will count you in. I will talk you through the whole thing, so you don't have to think about anything at all. But just so that you know, we're going to be breathing in to a count of 6. We're going to be holding the breath in for a count of 4, and we're going to be releasing the breath for a count of 6. And we're going to repeat that 5 times. So it's really good to start off with a very, very empty breath. So when I count to 3, I want you to push out all of your breath, and then we'll start the breathing exercise. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Let go of all of your breath. Push it all out. And then breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let it go. Just notice how the body feels now, just letting go of all of that. I'm going to start off with a little body scan. So taking your attention to your head. Just feeling it sitting on top of your neck, top of your body. Holding your brain intact. And just start off by taking your attention to the top of your head, where the crown of your head is. And see if you can imagine somebody has been tapping the top of your head, taking the fingers away, but you can still feel where the impression was. So you can feel the crown of the head just through that sense of awareness of where it is. And then just tracing down the facial muscles, relaxing all of them. The eyebrows soften. The eyelids get heavy. They don't need to stay open anymore, so they can just relax. And with that, the eyeballs just deepen into the sockets a little bit more. ears, softening all the little muscles around the ears, just letting go. From the ears, following that jawline down towards your chin and just allowing your jaw to fully relax. Allowing your tongue just to sit in the lower palate, just against the bottom teeth. And then just tracing down your neck, inside your throat, allowing that to soften too. And also just checking in with the neck. Sometimes when we meditate, it gets so relaxed that the head rocks back and the chin lifts up. Just see if you can keep the back of the neck nice and long, and the chin is just very gently tucked in. It's not all the way into the chest, it's just allowing the head to face forward, but not rocking back. And then just imagine that somebody's hands are just guiding your shoulders away from the ears, just allowing them to softly relax. And then you just notice your shoulder blades, whether the shoulder blades are protruding into the wall behind you if you're sitting against a wall. If you're not sitting against a wall, you just bring your awareness to the shoulder blades. And if you are against a wall and they're sticking into the wall a little bit, seeing if you can move them in slightly, just so that you're nice and relaxed. None of it really matters as long as you're comfortable. Don't feel like you have to change things if you're comfortable. And then just taking our awareness down to the very bottom of the spine. So that flat bone, your sacrum, right at the bottom of your spine. And that bone really divides your two sitting bones, your hips. So use the sacrum in your mind's eye, or even if you can feel it, as a little balance point. It's in the middle. So just take a moment to see if you feel like you are more weighted on one sitting bone than the other. And again, if you are comfortable, don't feel that you have to move. This is just building your awareness. And also that nice feeling of just letting go if you are comfortable. And if you're not, then adjusting so that you are. Just noticing you might be well balanced, fully in the middle. Imagine your pelvis as a little old-fashioned scales. See if you're tipping to one side or the other. And again, it really doesn't matter. We're just noticing how we are. And then from the sitting bones, just moving slowly down through the thigh muscles to the knees. A big, very heavily used joint on both knees. So just noticing if the knees are relaxed, above the knee, below the knee, behind the knee, lots of tendons and ligaments. And just noticing if the knee is relaxed or if it feels like it's holding on to your posture, your positioning. As long as it's comfortable, that's okay. And then just taking your mind's eye, sweeping down both legs past those heavy calf muscles down towards your ankle bones. So another well used joint. And just imagine softening there. If you physically can, great. But if you're already just very still, you don't want to move any part of your body, just bring your attention to softening from the inside. And then take your attention to your toes on both feet. I'm going to call out the toes. Excuse me. And as I do that, try not to move them. And I'm going to be doing both feet at the same time. But when I mention each toe for each foot, for both of them together, try not to move it. Just bring your awareness there in isolation. So you're going to feel the toes in isolation from the other toes on your feet. It's a difficult one to do without moving your toes, but don't worry too much. Don't overthink it. Just get an idea of where you think your toes are if you can't feel them individually. So starting off with both of our big toes, feeling them from the inside without moving them, just like we did with the ankles. And then the second toe on both feet, the third toe, the fourth toe, and the little toes, both of them. And then checking back with the ankles up towards the knees together, just noticing that joint. And then the sitting bones again, seeing if there's more softening that can be done. Twisting up to the belly. And just softening into the belly as well. So no holding on to any stomach muscles, just allowing the breath to expand enough so that the stomach muscles move a little bit with every inhale. Opening up the rib cage, and every exhale retracting. It's very, very subtle. You don't need to take a big, huge breath to move the rib cage. Just feeling that breath come in and out of your body. And if it's so subtle that you can't feel the rib cage moving, then just imagine it. Just bring your awareness to it. So every in-breath, the rib cage extends out to the sides on both sides. And every out-breath, it just draws itself back in, retracts back. As you're focusing on that, notice if the rest of your body might have tensed up a little bit. Sometimes when we change our focus, it can take a bit of energy to do that. And so part of your body might subconsciously just constrict itself a little bit. So again, just checking in with both ankle joints that they're relaxed. Both knee joints are relaxed. And both sitting bones are as soft as they can be. And then we're going to take our attention to our hands. So if your hands are on your lap, Just turn them so that they are facing up, so the palms are facing up. And what I want you to do from here is cross the hands over, so one goes on top of the other. So your right hand is in your left hemisphere and your left hand is in the right hemisphere of your body. Just cross them over at the wrists, maybe. Now we're going to do a similar thing to what we did with the feet, but we're going to do it with the hands only. The hands are crossed, and what this means is that you are cross-wiring the hemispheres of your brain. And this can be really good for clarity, relaxed clarity. So I'm not going to mention both of your fingers on both hands at the same time. We're going to do one hand at a time. Just try and keep them crossed if you can. So let them relax. Don't kind of hold them up or anything. Just let them fall into your lap or your crotch or wherever it might be, as long as they are just relaxed and crossed over the wrists. So let's start off with that right hand. So bringing your attention to your right thumb without moving it. Now bring your attention to the right index finger. And now the middle finger. The fourth finger of your right hand. And don't worry if any of your fingers twitch. Just don't try and move them consciously. If they twitch, that's absolutely fine and cool. And then the little finger on the right hand. And just bring your gentle awareness to the palm of your hand, the skin there. Without moving the fingers, sometimes it's difficult to ascertain if the skin is creased or you have a flat hand. And it really doesn't matter. You're just noticing how you think it feels, and also looking out for any sensations. There may be tingling in the palm of your hand. There may be a bit of heat. There might be numbness. All of that is fine. You're just noticing. Keeping a very light subconscious focus on the right hand, you're going to take your full focus to your left hand, which is still crossed. And bring your awareness to your left thumb without moving that. And the left index finger. And then the middle finger. The fourth finger. And the little finger. And now to the skin in the palm of your hand. Same thing as before, noticing whether it feels creased or flat, possibly slightly curled, although you can't tell because you're not going to move your hands. And just noticing any tingling or heat or numbness, or maybe nothing. Just noticing all of that. Now what I want you to do from here is gently uncross your hands and then just take them back onto your lap, but still with your palms facing up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do it again, but we're going to do as we did with the feet, and we're going to mention each finger at the same time on each hand. So when I mention the thumbs, I want you to bring your attention to both of your thumbs at the same time. So starting now, bring the attention to both of your thumbs without moving them, to both index fingers, to the middle fingers, to the fourth fingers, and to the little fingers. The skin in the palms of both of your hands. I just want you to take this time to really notice the difference from having the hands crossed to now being on either side of you where they would normally be, and just see if that makes you feel a little bit more centered, both physically and a little bit mentally as well. A little bit more balanced, and how much easier it was to have the hands back on their um, biological side. Notice how your body responds from that whole body scanning. And now, with the body scan, what we did was we isolated the parts, we isolated the toes from each other, we isolated the fingers, we isolated each part of your body from the other parts. But now I'd like you to take your attention to the crown of your head, that area that we felt before as though someone had been tapping on the head. And I want you to imagine that that's a little doorway into your body. And I want you to imagine that there is a nice bright sun above your head, which is really warm in a good way, not too hot, just nice and warm. It has a nice strong yellow beam of sunlight, and it's coming right onto the crown of your head and through that little hatch. Now it's such a beautiful, bright, warm light. As it comes in, it's filling your skull, going through the neck, filling your torso and down each arm, continuing down the torso into the pelvis, feeling each side of the pelvis, and then going down from the pelvis, down each leg, filling up with light and warmth. Now allow this warmth and this light to stay in your body, to feel it. And I want you to really imagine that every in-breath that you take, shallow or deep, it doesn't matter what it is, that you're allowing that light to shine just a little bit brighter with every in-breath. And every out-breath, it's just flooding your system even more. So we're now thinking about the body as one, no isolated parts, but this light, this energy, connecting all the parts of your body and just making it one body inside your skin. Noticing any sensations that come up in your body. And it's nice to take your literal eyes to the backs of your eyelids. That's your mindful awareness, but you are actually looking at the back of your eyelids with your eyes closed, and see what comes up there, what light is coming through the eyelids, and with that light coming through the eyelids, what color does it provide? And I want you to fill yourself up with that color. So you've got this beautiful light coming into the top of your head, and then the back of the eyes, whatever color you choose. And the two might meld. You might have the two coming in together. And I want you to choose a positive word, one that you really resonate with, and one that you might need the essence of that word. You might need the essence of that word in your life right now. So it might be love. It could well be clarity if you're studying on something. It might be gratitude, it might be compassion, anything at all. And then I just want you to bring that word and its essence into your body by just repeating, I am, and then whatever your word is, whether it's I am happy, I am love, whatever it might be, I am clear. Just repeating it over and over, nice and gently, as slowly as you like, and bring the feeling that that word imbues into your body. So if it's I am love, with every inhale, you're bringing that sense of the word and the color and the light into your whole body, filling yourself up. So this is where I'm going to leave you, only because I want you to stay with it as long as it's nice for you, and I don't want to end the meditation if you're in a good place. It's really lovely to stay with that present awareness that you've created for yourself right now, and just be mindful that when you are ready to stop the meditation for yourself, that you do it really, really slowly and you transition back into your space by just taking it slowly and mindfully. And I will see you next time. Thank you.